you do. Just hold me tight, no words are needed. No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight, no words are needed. No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight, no words are needed.
Evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Big up the chat. I've been away at my in-laws this afternoon. Obviously mothering Sunday, but my God, I need to talk about this game because we just robbed again. Like I just I can't fathom what is going on right now with Jurgen Klopp. Like how is he handling this? Because he's just watching corruption every single match, every single game, VAR, referees, media, just across the board. It's just blatant corruption. Like it's just what we see with our eyes. Like we've been robbed of 5 points this season now. 5 points. Like like I can't understand it. I can't understand why there isn't some kind of investigation into this now. Because this seems to be an ongoing theme with Liverpool all the way through the season. Just decision after decision after decision in big games, in key games that just give Man City an advantage every single time. Manchester City get an advantage every single time. Like it's the same referee that did the same thing again. Like he's given Manchester City about 5 or 6 advantages in league title runs. This referee, Michael Oliver, like we can just roll back and just look at all the times that Oliver has not given a penalty or given a penalty or given handball or not given handball. And every single time it gives the advantage to Man City. Like he's the same guy that went to the UAE and got all his expenses paid by Man City's owners. He's the same guy. Like, how are we getting these referees again and again and again? Like, it's just a fucking joke. Like, I am so pissed off right now. Like, our boys are just unbelievable. Like, the performance we put in today, like, we absolutely bossed them in the second half. I've never seen Man City on the ropes so much. Like, we need to have a conversation about Cody Gakpo as well because he's just shit. Like, he's just garbage. Like, he's just not good enough to be in the Liverpool team. He really isn't. Like Jaden Danns, like just get him in the team soon. Like I'm bringing Jaden Danns on. I'm bringing Kumas on. Like he's absolutely terrible. He is a terrible, terrible player. Like he just is just bad. Like Klopp's now playing Harvey Elliott ahead of him because Harvey Elliott is just a better player. Like he's a 20-year-old kid. He's just a better player than Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo is dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Like there's 2 players that just will not last a year at the club when Klopp goes, and it's Gapco and Gravenberch, and they are out the door. Like that's just a fact. Like Andy Robinson can follow them as well because he'll be going as well because he's awful now. Okay, I've not seen Robbo play well for a year and a half. Like it's a long, long time since I've seen Robbo play well. Like he's absolutely all over the place in games. Too far forwards, not doing any defending, does this daft thing where he just chases the ball like a blind person, like a child, like just running past players, putting players in jeopardy. Like he's just not good enough. Like we need better players there. Get rid of him next year. Like We need to talk about PGMLO because it's just so bad. Like, Jurgen Klopp is probably leaving the Premier League because of the refereeing. Like, it really does look like he just wants a break now. He just wants to get away from this corruption and this biased, one-sided shite, which is just it just grows and breeds in Manchester City at the moment. Like, there is so much corruption in the game that just emanates from City. It just does. Like, it just must. like like we now have to start looking at games, pre-games now, and just start looking at them and just seeing how one-sided decisions are for City. They just are. Like Curtis Jones got a red card this season for touching the ball and then hitting the player. What's the difference? What's the difference in what Doku did? Doku kicked him in the chest. Kicked him in the chest in the penalty area. It's a yellow card or a red card compared to some other decisions, and it's a penalty. And McAllister wins the game because it's the last kick of the game. It's like the Nottingham Forest game. They tried so hard to look at disallowing that goal. Look how long they spent looking at it to try and find a way to disallow it. Like, the game in Europe, Salah got a clear onside goal disallowed for offside. Like, you just have to look at the game in the final against Chelsea. Like, what Manchester City did in the game against us was exactly the same as what we did against Chelsea. And we got a goal disallowed and we had to go to extra time. It's blocking in an offside position. It's the same thing that happened against us. And we got a goal disallowed and they get a goal given. Like, it's just corruption. It is utter corruption from top to bottom. It's coming from the royal family in UAE that pay for Man City, and it's going right through the league, right through the officials, right through VAR. Everybody is on the take and it's corrupt. When are we going to start doing something about it? Because it's going to be Liverpool that has to stand up. Because you can see all the other teams that are getting robbed. There's other teams that get robbed. Wolves have been robbed so many times this season. Like, even O'Neill's come out and said, Gary O'Neill's come out and said, what is going on? Like, we're being robbed repeatedly. Liverpool have had 5 points taken off them. 5 points this season taken off them. Like, we had a clear goal that was onside, that was chalked off for offside when it was onside, and they both knew it was. Replay the game. Klopp now needs to come out and turn around and say, I don't give a fuck. In Belgium, they replayed the match because there was a goal that wasn't given. Get that Tottenham game replayed. I don't care. Get it replayed. Because we lost that game. Get that game replayed at the end of the season, because that's what needs to happen. And we need to start having conversations. Like, Liverpool need to start pressing the officials. Because what's Howard Webb going to say on Monday? Oh, well, we didn't want to give it because it was in the last minute of the game. Don't give a fuck. You give it because it's a fucking correct decision, because it's a foul, because it's a yellow card, because it's dangerous play. That's why you give it. And we can all sit here and go, oh, Gakpo and Diaz should have taken their chances. I don't care. I don't care whether they took their chances or not. We were denied a blatant penalty that everybody's talking about. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Sky aren't. Sky aren't. TalkSport aren't. ESPN are in the US. ESPN are talking about it. All the other stations are talking about it. Sky won't be talking about it. BT won't be talking about it. And TalkSport won't be talking about it. And you want to know why? Because they're all based in the UK. And guess what's being funded in the UK? Fucking corruption. Start to finish. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of this shit. And the next manager has got to deal with this. The next manager's got to deal with this. The new director of football coming in, Michael Edwards, he's got to deal with this. Richard Hughes, the director of football, he's got to deal with this. Who is going to be able to deal with this shit? Because we're going to be robbed a league title. We're going to be robbed a league title this season. Because you know what it's going to come down? It's going to come down to a fucking handball or an offside against Arsenal. And Man City are going to win at the Emirates. Because they always do. It'll be a fucking goal that'll be given or a penalty that'll be given with a handball that's fucking up here, blocking the face, like stopping themselves. Just like it was in Everton. And Arna got a fucking penalty given against him when it wasn't a penalty. And they looked at it and they gave them it and they won the game. Because Man City get all the fucking decisions, because Man City are paying off all the referees. And guess what? Yeah, we'll have Tierney again. And guess what? We'll have Atwell again. And we'll have Coote. And we'll have fucking... It doesn't matter who you name. It doesn't matter who you name as a referee against Liverpool anymore. Because they're all in on it. Every single one. We don't get any good referees anymore because there isn't any good referees. Because they're all fucking paid off by fucking Londoners and fucking Manchester City because they all hate Liverpool. They all hate the Scousers because they're from fucking Manchester or they're from fucking London. None of them are from Liverpool. We don't get any Merseyside people. Manchester City get fucking people from Manchester who fucking referee their games. Everybody at the Chelsea fucking Liverpool final, they were all from fucking Manchester. How is that allowed? How is that allowed? How is that allowed? But it is against Liverpool. Of course it is. All right. Rant over for a bit. I'm going to get a couple of people in on the chat, okay? Welcome.
Hello.
Are you on mute? Mohammed, you're on mute.
Hello, K-Mac. How are you?
How you doing, mate? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear us?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Come on, now let it rip because I just have.
Honestly, I just had it enough. Like, we've been robbed so many times this season. It's just unbelievable, man. Like, it just gotta stop. Like, it's just gotta
It's starting
stop.
to put me off football, mate. It's starting to put me off football.
Honestly, bro. Like, it's just like first the Chelsea one with the Nico Jackson handball and the Luis Diaz offside one against Spurs, the basketball with Odegaard, and now Man City with Doku doing a kung fu kick. I'm just done. I'm just tired. Like, there's no consistency.
Well, there is consistency. It's consistently wrong against us. That's the consistency. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, it is consistent. It's consistently wrong against us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the consistency. It's fucking
It's embarrassing, man. It's just embarrassing.
5 points, mate. It's 5
Literally
points.
5 points. Exactly. We were just like 5 points ahead of this, and now we're just being dunked on, man. We're just being dunked on. Everything is just going wrong for us. Like, it's so stupid, man. It's so dumb. Like, bro, none of the Sky Sports media coverage aren't even saying anything on the Liverpool one.
Of course they're not.
Like, you remember the outrage? You remember the outrage on the Nottingham Forest?
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Mate, it made mainstream news.
Exactly. It was just mainstream.
Made mainstream news. It didn't. It came away from the sports, and
Mhm.
it went into proper news channels. Like, are you having a laugh? Like, what? Because you didn't get a drop ball? I don't care if you didn't get a drop ball. You had a throw in. You had a throw in after that, and you had the chance to clear it 3 times after that. So you can't say because you didn't get a drop ball means that you lost the game. You lost the game because one of your players decided to start dribbling out of the box and got caught in possession by Endo. Can we all say how fucking good is Endo?
He is
How
absolutely
good is Endo? My God. I mean,
Oh my God.
Endo made Rodri look like a child today. Like,
Honestly, bro.
seriously, like he must have nutmegged him about 5 times in that game as well. Like, Endo is an absolute monster. Like between him and McAllister, have got to be the signings of the season. And I couldn't give a shit about Declan Rice. Stick your Declan Rice up your arse. Like,
Exactly.
you're on more points last season, Arsenal, without Declan Rice.
Mhm.
Like, let's see how you get on, Arsenal, when you're winning all your games 6-0 and you're still second in the table or third in the table, because Man City are winning that game because the referees will give them the points. Sorry, that's how it's going to go. It's going to be a
100%.
handball or it's going to be a penalty, and Man City are going to get the run of the green, because guess what? Man City always do.
Mhm.
Why aren't people ever talking about Man City getting refereeing decisions? They never talk about all of the good refereeing decisions that they get. They never talk about it.
No,
They
not at
never
all.
ever talk about it.
Never.
You
Never.
could literally rail off a list of all of the times Man City have got away with shit.
Mhm.
Constantly getting away with shit, getting away with decisions in games. They're not getting away with them. It's corruption, and they're being paid off to give them the decisions. Like,
Mhm.
they've got 115 rules that they've broken. You don't think they've broken one for paying off refs? Really? If they've got 150
Literally.
in an investigation, you don't think one of them's paying the refs off? They're the most underpaid people on the pitch. They're the easiest corruptible ones on the pitch.
Honestly, bro. I'm so freaking tired. Like
Football's out, mate. Football's
if
out of this shit.
we literally lose a title by a point, I don't care. I don't see City as winners. They're not. They're just cheaters. They're just cheaters. I don't care. Like, nobody cares about City. I don't care. I don't care about City. It's just so
Right.
annoying.
I'll tell you what, we win this league on that open bus top parade. They should have some kind of like sign up there. Just saying, like we beat Man City and we beat PGML.
Hmm.
There should be something on that bus, so the whole world can see how fucking corrupt they are. Like maybe like a banner which has got all of the photographs of all the decisions that were given to the other team or given against us. Like like a big long banner with all of them on, like points dropped because of this to this, red card here, red card. Like, they've literally given us like 2 red cards this season that weren't red cards. Like, I'm sorry, 3 red cards this season that weren't red cards, and one of them they had to rescind. And as soon as they rescinded that, they then gave another decision in the next game, which against us, which was for what we got the card for.
Mhm.
Like, just to fuck us over even more. And then the game after Tottenham, when they wouldn't stop the play because they wouldn't roll it back, we then played Crystal Palace, and 2 minutes after the penalty that was conceded by Quansah, they then took it back. So they did exactly the opposite that they said they couldn't do against us. So it's like, yeah, fuck you, Liverpool. Nah, fuck you.
Honestly, bro.
Like we'll get Howard Webb on. We'll get a Manchester United fan on.
An ex-Yorkshire police. Yeah.
Basically Fergie's ass kisser from when he was in charge, and we all know he was. We all know he was. Like, everybody
Exactly.
knows he was. That's not common knowledge. And we get him on, and then he starts waffling shite and contradicts himself all the time, and goes, "Yeah, we got it wrong. We're really sorry. We should have done better."
Screw your
I'm going to
apologies.
say that for the fucking 4th time now.
Honestly.
It'll be the 4th game that you fucked up against Liverpool.
If
Honestly.
I may just quickly come in and say,
Yeah, crack
I
on,
feel
bro.
like, honestly, I feel like we wouldn't have this conversation at all if Luis Diaz finished those chances. If Luis Diaz finished the one-on-one, or there was a moment where he took a heavy touch and then Kyle Walker was able to kick the ball out, There was another moment where he was outside the box and he shot completely wide. I feel like if Luis Diaz scored any one of those chances, we would be top of the league, and we honestly wouldn't be talking about this, which I feel like just goes to show that Liverpool consistently, and especially at least in this game, Luis Diaz misses very big chances that had they gone in, we wouldn't have to talk about the league going against us because we've seen lots of very, very, very poor decisions. I think we can all agree upon that. But in spite of that, we've created so many chances, and it's just a shame how many of them we just don't finish. Nunez, thankfully, in the past couple of games, has started to put on his accuracy boots because he's always had the space. He's just never been accurate, and he's been, he'll hit bangers and he'll miss sitters. But in this game, I feel like as much as I hate to stick him out, I do think Luis Diaz let us down because had he scored the one-on-one chance, he had another chance that he should have just shot first time. He took a touch. Kyle Walker was able to catch up to him. And then there was that chance in the first half where he was just outside the box, completely unmarked, and he hits it as hard as possible, and it just goes wide, which, given the space that he had, it shouldn't have gone wide. It should have at least been on target.
It should have been on target, bro.
It should have been on target, and as much as I hate to say it, I feel as though if the title, let's say, is lost in our hands, and this game is the deciding game, I feel bad because Luis Diaz really should have finished his chances. And it's just been the constant story of this year. First it was Nunez, then there's the moments of Diaz, then there's moments where Gakpo, he takes a touch where he shouldn't be taking a touch, or he decides to pass when he should just shoot, or whatever the case may be. Honestly, as much as I hate to say it, I also blame our players for just not being clinical. There are moments where we just don't put the ball in the back of the net. But that's my little tirade.
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree with
there
you.
was moments there where I was like, I wish that would have fell to Nunez.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And about I don't know about 3-4 months ago, I would have been like, I wish that would have fell to Diaz. But now it's the opposite way around, and I'm like, I wish that would have fell to Nunez. Like, if one of them would have fell to Nunez,
yeah,
it would have been game over.
This game,
But I still can't. But I still can't. I still can't deny the fact that we were robbed in the 98th minute.
Right.
We just were. Like, it's a penalty. Like, it doesn't matter who you ask. Every single person who's a football fan, every single person who understands football, knows that that's a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't given because it's Man City.
Yeah.
Man City. Like, you can't.
Yeah,
Liverpool can't beat Man
never-
City in the
Straight
98th
studs to
minute.
the chest. Straight studs to the
That
chest.
can't happen.
Yeah.
Like, Liverpool
Yeah,
can't
there's-
beat Man City in the 98th minute. Like, that can't happen. Like, Man City fans
No.
will be pissed off. The Sheiks will be pissed off. Who's going to give us our games? Who's going to pay us our bonuses? Like,
Right.
Honestly.
like the
Yeah.
Arsenal fans will be pissed off. You know, we can't wax lyrical about Arsenal being incredible when they're not. Like, and they deserve to win all their games because they're really good, and they've spent 250 million every single season, and Liverpool have got a completely depleted squad, and they've been against the odds all season with games and points and everything robbed off them, and all their players are injured, and all the bad refereeing decisions we've done against them. We can't give them that penalty. No, we can't give them that penalty.
Mm.
Like, fuck off, you corrupt bastards.
Agreed.
I mean,
This-
And their goal, Man City's goal, was not a goal. It was a block, and the guy was offside. Ake was offside, and he was
Yeah, they
even more
called it-
offside than bloody Endo was.
They called offside on Virgil van Dijk's goal in the Carabao Cup because someone who happened to be offside blocked someone. If you're going to call that offside in the Carabao Cup final, then it should be offside in this situation. It's the consistency that kills us. The lack of consistency, rather. Or, like you said, consistently just being wrong that
Against
kills us. Yeah.
And the ball may well have gone out as well, by the way. That wasn't checked. It did look like the ball went out and came back in, by the way. But you know, I'm not one to speak about conspiracies when they're just all around us and we just constantly see them. And it's just the fact that it's the fact that you watch all the English channels and they're silent, and that's when you know Liverpool are robbed. That's when you know Liverpool have been hard done by again. When all of the English channels are on radio silent, because they've all been told, don't show that replay, don't talk about that, don't get that stuff in the press. We don't want Liverpool to be annoyed. We don't want it to look like we're against Liverpool when we clearly are, but we just don't want that. And it is what it is. Like we get the decision against Forest when it's a ridiculous thing, because for one thing, Konate nearly had his head kicked off by their player. So why wasn't that looked at for a red card? Because he nearly kicked his face off, like in the box. So why wasn't that looked at for a red card? But besides that, we didn't get nothing, and then the ball went to them. And then if you look at the replay, Luis Diaz kicks the ball back to our goalkeeper. Like why didn't their player stop him? Like, you just let him do it. You just let him kick the ball back to our goalkeeper. And when the ref turns around, our goalkeeper had the ball because Luis Diaz kicked it back to him.
Yeah.
So then he just went, okay, there you go. You got the ball. Play on. I don't really understand like how it's anything, because it's, you know, the fourth official should have turned around and gone, actually, that's not Luis Diaz that got the ball, but he didn't. So whatever. And they had the chance to clear it, and they didn't. And they had a throw in. Like, they could have just and they also got booked twice for wasting time in that period. So it's like, you had the chance to do whatever. It was 2 minutes after the fucking ball got played out from the goalkeeper anyway. So are you really going to blame that? But there's a conspiracy there, and Liverpool get all the decisions, and everybody talked about it. Sky, BT, everyone, TalkSport, everyone was talking about it. Nothing will be talked about on this. Nothing will be talked about on this.
Like, it's just brushed off for nothing. And honestly, oh my God, I wish if Jota played today, I miss Jota, but if Jota really played today and maybe let's say he was coming off the bench, we would have scored 3-1 or 4-1. Or he would have had a hat trick. And then it would have been game over. Because he's really that clinical. He's that guy. And he's just one of...
Luis Diaz won't be at the club next year.
Yeah. No, I really don't think so.
Next manager will bin him. There's quite a few players that I think that'll go. Like, honestly, like I'm being straight up. Like, I know we've got an amazing squad, and everyone's like thinks we've got like the finished article, really. But there's a number of players that won't be at the club next year, and one of them's Robbo, one of them's Gakpo, one of them's Gravenberch, one of them's Diaz. There's a possibility Salah might go. Like 200 million, Michael Edwards will get 200 million for Salah. He's an absolute monster at getting transfer deals. He's going to sell. He's going to sell a few players. He's not going to keep Robbo. He's 29.
No.
Like, this is Edwards' ethos. Edwards doesn't keep players beyond their sell-by date.
He's ruthless. Edwards is ruthless.
He's ruthless, and that's exactly what we need. Like, we wouldn't have been in the position we were in last year if it wasn't for Klopp not being so sentimental and keeping everyone beyond their sell-by date. And that's why we ended up with like 5 players walking out the club for nothing when we paid like 150 million for them. That's 150 million just walked out the door. Like, can you imagine that happening under Edwards' watch? He would have gone mental. That's probably why he left. Why he left. And he's going to be like, yeah, we get 30 million for Robbo. Nice one. We just like trebled our money because we paid like 7 for him. So Robbo will get sold. Salah 36 million. They'll be like, yeah, we get 200 million for him. Cha-ching. Gravenberch, yeah, we'll probably get 50. Gakpo, maybe 50. Yeah, like, there's money to be made.
Simple as that.
I think Virgil will stay because I don't think you're going to buy a player of his quality in his position for how much we'll sell him for.
Mm.
So if you sold him for like 100 million to Saudi Arabia, 100 million isn't going to get you another Virgil. So
No.
you might as well keep him.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's just that good. Like, he was unbelievable today. He was
Yeah, he really
absolutely
was.
unbelievable today. Like, Haaland.
Just
Did Haaland
pocketing.
even have a shot on target apart from that one, which went straight into Keller's hands?
I have never seen someone as clinical as Haaland not have any impact
Nothing.
on the game.
Nothing.
It was,
Today.
Same with Foden, by the way. Same with Foden. He had nothing today.
but at least Foden every
Joey
once in a
Jesus
while
had a
would
bit of
dribble
pocket.
Gomez. You know, he'd get past Gomez. Haaland, I can't even. Nothing comes to mind besides the shot that went straight to Kelleher. There's nothing that like Haaland did. And there were times where Endo, Virgil van Dijk, even a couple times Kwanzaa would just step up and kind of take him out the game cleanly through, getting the ball, and that was it. Done and dusted.
Yeah,
It
Foden
was
had a good chance, but that was because Robbo was out of position again,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
and that was a good save by Keller. I mean, we are going to have to start talking about Keller as well, because like I've said this on other shows, like Keller has attributes which Ali doesn't have. He just does.
Mhm.
Like Keller's distribution is just phenomenal. Like Keller puts us on a counter attack. Like Alisson can do that one kick, which goes long, to the side. He does that one kick, which I've seen him do a number of times, which has obviously got Salah a few goals, and against big teams as well, by the way, which is great. But I also think Ali's kicking is the reason why he's getting hamstrings, because of the way he kicks the ball.
Just tries to do a Travella in training, and then he just kicks himself. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
you have to. I mean, okay. Look, Ali is world class. Okay, he's an amazing goalkeeper, no doubt. All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
But Keller has played less than 50 games for Liverpool. Okay, I'm just putting this into perspective, and agree with me or don't agree with me in the chat. Okay, he's played less than 50 games for Liverpool. Yeah, he's won 2 cup finals already, like with his saves probably. By the way, he's won us a few games now with incredible saves. I think he's got better distribution than Ali. I think he's got on par distribution with Ederson. He looks comfortable on the ball with both feet. He looks comfortable in the air. He's got brilliant one-on-one saving. Like, I mean, one-on-one saving is just phenomenal. Like, put it this way, he's got an XG of 2.9 against him. Only 3 goalkeepers have ever done a 0-0 draw, as in not conceding, with a 2.9 XG. That's how good he is.
Insane.
And he had a 2.0 XG in his last game, where he was just pulling worldie after worldie save. Sorry, against was it Southampton? It was Southampton won it, where he's just pulling worldie after worldie save.
Yeah, the cup one. Yeah.
Like, look at his XGs are normally 1.5 to 2 recently against him. That's how good he is. He's absolutely unbelievable. And if we played him for another 20 games, do you think he gets better?
Yeah.
Because I think he gets better.
Absolutely.
I think he gets more confident because he's playing with the defenders more. Because we're looking at a goalkeeper, and this is the sample size that we use with Keller. We're looking at a goalkeeper who has a back four constantly changing when he plays. Constantly. He's got Joe Gomez on the left, on the right, wherever. He's got Virgil in, Virgil out. He's got Quansah in, Quansah out. He's got Canate in and out. He's got Bradley. He's played with like Curtis Jones. He's played with Bajcetic. He's played with so many different right backs as well. And Trent's in, Trent's out. He's got different DMs. He's got a different midfield. Like, Ali normally has a solid 11 all the time. You can normally pick the back 5 when Ali's in, because he gets the best team all the time. So Ali's got the best choice. So he's really used to that back 4 of your Robbo, your Virgil, your Canate, your Trent. That's normally what Ali gets. Keller doesn't get that because he doesn't play all the big games. He doesn't play consistently. The fact that he's now playing consistently and he still hasn't got his best back four in front of him, and he's still playing this well, I think he gets better. And I honestly think there's a strong case to looking at Keller as our first touch goalkeeper in a year's time. I really do. I really do. Because you can't rely on Ali. You can't. Are you trying to tell me that Ali wouldn't have had a bozo moment in that Man City game today? Because I think he could have easily. Because he had one in the last one.
Yeah.
He had one at Arsenal.
He had one. Yeah, he had one at Arsenal.
Ali has bozo moments.
Yeah.
Name a bozo moment by Keller.
But
I can't
is
name
that
one.
more
Nothing.
so-
I can name him. I can name him not saving some shots that you think Ali should have saved that. I can't blame him for their goal today.
Mm.
Like I can't blame him for their goal today. Where was the man on the near post? Like there's no man on the near post. Like because we were playing offside, and we played offside because he was offside. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I genuinely believe Keller has better attributes in some areas than Alisson, and that's hard for me to say. But there's got to be conversations about this guy soon, and are we going to lose him? Are we going to lose possibly a world-class goalkeeper? Because I think in a year or two's time, I think he could be world-class, and we're talking about an Irish world-class goalkeeper.
Mhm.
Quite
Like,
He's been
Who's the last
absolutely like amazingly phenomenal ever since Alisson got injured. Like he's just been at it all
he's
over.
incredible.
He's
Every game,
incredible.
he's been incredible.
Every game. Exactly. Like all the masterclasses he's done, he just does it every time, every single time.
Every time. Like his
Literally.
distribution today was just it was insane.
Unbelievable.
It was
Exactly.
insane how good he was on the ball, and his passing is just unbelievable. Like, like you've got a player running towards you, and he lobs him. He lobs the pass over his head to the left or the right, and you're like, "Come on, mate! Like, seriously, are you going to play in midfield?" I actually think he was an outfield player. Like, I actually think he's got all of those attributes because he played outfield before he became a goalkeeper, and he was good at it. I don't know, like, but he was sensational today. And we do also have to talk about like I've only just noticed this. Have you noticed Phil Foden's celebration?
Yeah.
But have you
The one where he
noticed?
just points the gun and
But
yeah.
if you notice that he's being talked about as it's a good thing by commentators, like oh, have you seen Foden? He's now showing the kids this new celebration, and they all want to be snipers. Are you being serious? Like, we've got literally
Yeah.
2 wars going on,
Mhm.
and there's snipers killing people, and you're celebrating it, and you want kids to be snipers. You want kids to be doing the gun celebration, do you? Do you remember Sterling got absolutely roasted,
Rinsed because he had a
Yeah.
tattoo. Yeah,
and he was doing the mask thing,
yeah.
and Foden's being lauded by everybody because he's doing a sniper fucking thing. Fuck off, Foden.
Yeah.
Prick.
Honestly, bro. Like Foden before he was doing the gun celebration, he was just like pointing the sky at God and kissing
Yeah.
it. Now he's just and I don't know what
Your
happened.
mind.
Why would he change it? Why did he change it? It just doesn't make sense.
People need to start talking about that as well, because you know what?
Yeah.
That's just inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not what you want to be showing kids.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to be showing any kids gun
Not
celebrations.
at all. Not
With
at
the
all.
amount of guns that are around right now, and the fact that there's just like you might as well start doing knife celebrations as well, just to top it off, because knife
Yeah.
crime ain't bad, is it?
Mhm.
Quite high.
Like,
Yeah.
there's literally wars going on, and you got people doing gun celebrations. Like ban him, charge him,
Fine him, honestly.
ban him, charge
Get
him.
him suspended
Like, do something about
for a few
it. Like,
games. Yeah.
Like, don't laud it, and don't say it's great that he's showing kids it.
No.
Uh, I mean, Foden looks like a trans person anyway, as far as I'm concerned. He does though. He looks like a tramp.
Yeah.
I'll probably get banned for that.
You'll show up on Sky News.
Anyway, yeah, probably. Okay, right. I'll stop being angry now, but I'm still not over it. I mean,
But-
Salah was a bit stinky today, wasn't he? I don't
Yeah.
understand the Gakpo substitution. Do you?
No, when
why
he
are
took
you
off
taking
Darwin
Nunez off,
Nunez,
like?
no.
No, I didn't understand it at all.
You're
I
literally
was so
taking-
confused.
You're bringing Nunez off to put Gakpo on with Salah.
And Diaz is on the pitch.
You clearly didn't rate Gakpo because you played Elliot
Mhm.
instead, and Elliot was sensational today. By
Elliot
the way.
was fantastic.
Elliot
I
was
think
great.
Elliot
Does need to be called up for England now. Like I do think. I
Absolutely.
I don't think that it will happen,
he's
though.
ready for England.
I don't think it will happen because Southgate is very stubborn with the players that he chooses time and time again. I mean, he keeps on calling the same centre back groups, and what shocks me always is that you have a Serie A winning centre back in Fikayo Tomori,
Tomori, yeah.
and he's not really in contention, and that really shocks me that you have 8th place, 7th place, 5th place Manchester United centre back Harry Maguire, who goes through these moments of just absolute meme compilation after meme compilation because of his ridiculous decisions. So I'm not sure. I feel bad for Elliot because he should be in at least in the squad, even if let's say he doesn't get the game time. But he should get the game time. he's very good. He's consistently.
Crazy, isn't it?
I think in terms of pressing, he is something that I think England could really utilize. When you think of Declan Rice is a great presser, and so is Elliot, and then Bellingham does very good. Pretty much everything he does, good for him. I think Elliot would be quite a fantastic engine, even if you don't start him. Having someone with his engine come on second half. You got 30 minutes left, you got 40 minutes left, and you just need someone to replace some legs. I think he's a fantastic choice, but I'm not sure it will happen because Elliot's not really in the fray. He kills it when he goes to the under-21s. He's too good for the under-21s. Every time he plays for the under-21s, he's either man of the match or he's in contention for man of the match every single time. He's too good for that level. And I don't think he'll play like he should. But then again, it is what it is. I can't. You can't. There's lots of English players who I'm sure would love to ring up Southgate and say, "Why am I not in the squad? I think I'm better than some of the players you choose consistently."
Bellingham would probably get played as a DM, won't he? Even though he scored about 50 goals for Real Madrid from attacking midfield.
Yeah,
we don't need that. We don't need that.
Yeah.
We don't need that. We've got Kane up front on his own. Why do we need that?
honestly, Kane. I feel bad for Kane though, honestly.
And then
Kane hurts. It's the Kane hurt.
And then the left wing, I don't know why, but I have a feeling Southgate's just gonna pick Rashford. It's just gonna be Rashford, man. Rashford is not. He's just not good. Yeah, he's just not doing good, man. Like he's just terrible.
He fell off quite a
He
bit.
fell off.
I mean, I said this for a while. Like, I think Rashford would be amazing for Liverpool on the left. Absolutely amazing. Under Klopp.
Yeah, him and Klopp. Oh my god, man, it would have been
amazing.
amazing.
I think Rashford's just bored of shit at Man United.
Yeah.
Like, how many crap managers has he played for now? Like, he's way too good for all of them. Like, and he just keeps on getting lobbed out on the left-hand side, and it's like, just give him a long ball. Like, that seems to be their tactic. Like, it works to a certain extent, but like use Rashford wisely. Like play him as a play him. Like, if he'd have replaced Mane, Jesus Christ, on the left. Like, he scored. I think he scored about 170 goals for Man United now. In like 314 games, and he's still only 26.
Yeah,
That's pretty. They're pretty crazy numbers. Like, pretty crazy numbers. And he seems to be the guy as well. Like, he seems to be the guy who scores most of their goals. Like, and they've got a new guy now. Like, but it's always been Rashford. It's always on Rashford, and he's always been fit, and he's always been the guy that's played. I just think he'd be brilliant for. He'd be brilliant at Liverpool under Klopp, and he's also just a fucking good guy. Like, he seems to be the only person at Man United that's actually a good guy. Like,
I do worry that Rashford's career is
school dinners for poor families.
for kids. Yeah,
Yeah, donating. Yeah, charity.
he did more than our government,
Mhm.
like single-handedly as a
Yeah.
as just he's just a
Just a
guy
player,
that came from
yeah.
Manchester's rough part of town. Like
Mhm.
he seems to be the only guy in the Manchester United team that hasn't fucking raped anyone.
Mhm.
I do worry about his career though, because I think that he does remind me a bit sometimes of Wayne Rooney and Michael Owen in the sense
Yeah, just
that
burnt out.
when they were young, the
Yeah.
numbers brilliant and the potential high, and playing consistently through injuries, playing when they shouldn't have played, they shouldn't have played, and that's one thing I like about Klopp is sometimes he doesn't play the kids if he doesn't have to. Recently he has been, and I don't blame him. There's not a squad. A lot of our players are injured. However, a lot of times last season or the years before, he would be very slow to introduce Jones or Elliott into the team. But
Yeah.
players like Rashford, Rooney, Michael Owen, Pedri at Barcelona, and now he's got another injury. A lot of these players just get shoved into the limelight, and naturally, because of their talent, they're really good. And credit to them, they can just sit in that team of superstars and still shine. But I worry that he's at this stage where I think he might hit that wall that Wayne Rooney did or Michael Owen did, where he's just going to hit it hard, and all of a sudden we're going to be talking about, wow, Rashford was good in this season or these couple years, but his end will be sort of this petering out of the clock in his career. And then I just think a lot of managers around the world and a lot of teams don't manage youth players really well. They overplay them, and Rashford's the type of guy who, when he is well rested, can rip apart any defense that he would like to. And he's done it in Europe too. I remember that Manchester United versus PSG game, the 3-1 in Paris,
Yeah,
and that penalty. And like he can do it.
Yeah, that was
It's
a
not just a Premier League thing. He's able to do it against other people around the world. But
yeah.
I
I
don't know
worry.
about his career anymore.
I worry for Bellingham as well, because Bellingham's done an insane amount of
Yeah.
football, and he's still only like 20. Like,
Yeah.
it's an insane amount of football, and he's playing for Real Madrid like every single game, like start to finish. I think he's had a couple of injuries this season, but I still think he needs that op as well, which he still hasn't had. You know, the water on his knee thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be interesting, like, because he, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen with them either. Especially with Real Madrid, they seem to just break everybody at the
Yeah.
moment. All their players are broken, aren't they? Like, they're having the kind of injury crisis that we've had, but ours is worse.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about today as well, though. Like,
Mm.
like Diaz on the bench. Like, can Man City stop fucking saying that he's better than fucking Virgil van Dijk, because he's
No,
just not.
he's not.
No,
Like,
he's not.
like if he really was that good, then you would have played him.
Mhm.
He would have played him away today. He didn't even come off the bench.
He didn't even came on. Yeah, he wasn't even starting. Yeah.
So shut up, Man City, with this Diaz shit. Okay,
Yeah.
he's okay. He's just
It
another
also
defender.
reminds me of when Arsenal fans talk about how William Saliba is the new Virgil van Dijk, and it's like he's not even close.
He's not even
For you to
close.
call him
Van Dijk,
the
because
new
we still
Virgil
have
van
Virgil
Dijk.
van Dijk.
He's nowhere near that. Yeah, exactly.
There's only one player that's close to Virgil van Dijk, and he plays next to him, and it's Konate.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
then the others
agree.
can then start talking about if they're even
And Konate's better than
Like
Saliba. Konate's way better than Saliba.
way better than Saliba.
Way better.
Like-
He's just way
Like,
better.
we also need to talk about Arsenal. Like, Arsenal play with 3 centre backs.
Mhm.
Arsenal play very defensive football. Can people stop talking about how attacking they are and how amazing they are
Mm-mm.
when they play really defensive? Like, they've literally got a DM in Rice that plays. He started playing forward a bit more now, but they've got 3 centre backs at all times. Like, they don't really play wide wingers or wide defensive
Fullback.
players.
Yeah.
Fullbacks, sorry. They just
Yeah.
don't.
Mm.
And when they
And
do
we-
with Zinchenko, issues
Oh
arise.
God, yeah, and then you can just get behind him because he's
Yeah.
garbage. But yeah, I mean, they were lucky against Brentford. They were lucky against Brentford. Like, Ramsdale was
Mm.
shit for their goal.
Yeah.
And then Ramsdale saved their asses twice. Like, as soon as the second half started, Brentford should have scored 2. Like
Mhm.
they should have
And
scored.
then
again.
Havertz should have been sent off with a second
Yeah,
yellow for
Havertz
diving.
should have been sent off before
He
he
should have been
scored.
sent off. Yeah.
But this is how it works.
Hmm.
This is how it works with corrupt referees.
It's incredibly just.
Are we
It
starting
is
to
very
see a
frustrating.
familiar
Yeah.
theme? Are we
It's
starting to see a
unbelievable.
familiar theme? Like Odegaard's allowed to play basketball in our box. Of course he is. You know, Doku's allowed to kick someone in the chest. Of course he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, his last name, he's no longer Doku. He's Dokfu now. He's just Kung Fu Panda everybody, man. It's just Kung Fu Panding, man. It's unbelievable.
It's
I
very
mean, he wasn't even
frustrating.
looking at the ball.
Hmm?
Like, he was
Because
looking the opposite way.
it just ruins a really good game of football.
It was an
Whilst we're not
incredible
happy
game of
with the
football.
result, we didn't want to draw. That was an amazing game of football, and it was tarnished because of the last minute, and that is such a shame. And I think even the Arsenal game with Liverpool, the 2-2, it was a great back and forth game of football. And then you have the Odegaard handball, basketball. It's just a different sport, and it tarnishes such good games. I mean, even the Tottenham Liverpool game way back when Luis Diaz scored an amazing goal. That was a very
Amazing
difficult
goal.
strike given the speed and the angle.
Hmm.
And it just tarnishes games in the league. And they're like, we want to reach out to more people. Well, I think one of the best ways to reach out to more people is to make sure that your games don't get tarnished by stupid decisions. That's the
Mhm.
best way to reach out to the crowd, that they're guaranteed that, hey, if I sit down, if I pay how much it is every month to watch this game, am I going to get a fantastic product? The players are better than what they've ever been, given today's technology and the drive and the new training styles and the new tactics. The players are better than 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So they're going to improve. So they're fine. The managers are tactically, we got giants now clashing with one another. I mean, I think that when it was Sir Alex Ferguson, Rafa Benitez, Arsene Wenger, there was Carlo Ancelotti at some point. That was interesting. And then there was this kind of lull. And then it came all back. And then you have Klopp, Pep, you have, Mikel Arteta, you had Conte and Tuchel. We had tons of people in the exact same league. But then when you mess up standard game decisions, doesn't matter how great of a manager you've got or how great of a player you have or players, you're ruining the game. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
Big up, Gags.
How you doing, man? You all right? Long time.
Yeah, long time, mate. Yeah, I've had my rant, mate. Do you want to have yours?
I think we played a fantastic game. Had City rattled, especially after we scored. And we were pretty much on top. Diaz has blood on his hands. I'm sorry, them 2 chances, them one-on-ones, he has to be converting those. But the thing is, that's kind of been the story of Diaz. Like, I'll be honest, since, I don't know if it's me, but his first half season at Liverpool when he just signed from Porto, he was like a breath of fresh air, maverick, literally the player that you look to like open up low blocks when we were like, when opposition like teams were finding it very hard, like like setting up in a certain way, they were really hard to break down. Diaz was the one that you always looked to, especially during that latter part of the season where everything was going for him. And then ever since that injury, don't know what it is, like he's slowly getting back to the part where he's very direct and he's taking on players, but that final decision making, man, it's a little bit suspect with him, I can't lie. So he needs to improve on that. And I'll be honest, I have PTSD with Liverpool when it comes to title races. If you look if you look at past history, every single time we've been in an actual title race, we've never crossed the line. People say 1920, but let's be honest, that wasn't a title race. We cakewalked that league. We won it by February, and then ended up winning it by 20 points.
You've had my spin on that, and my spin on that is like we won that because there was an absolute meltdown in Man City where they lost all their defenders, and also there was no fans. There was no fans. Like, we were playing in empty grounds. Like I just felt that that was an easy run. We had no challenge. No one really challenged us. I think if someone would have challenged us that season, we could have it could have been different. And they tried to take that off us, by the way, because they tried to shut down the league. Like, they tried to shut down the league.
I hear
I thought
you,
it was going to
but-
happen, by the way. I thought we were going to lose that league. I thought they were going to take it off us, because I thought they were going to shut the league down like one game before the end of the season.
Yeah, I
It
think they did.
got talked about all the way through.
Yeah. I think, I'll be honest, I think it's kind of disingenuous to say that we won it because there was no crowds, because the majority of that season, I think 25 games of that season was played before lockdown. So we'd won the league with majority of the games being with crowds. So I wouldn't. So are you saying that? So am I right in saying that you think our league was a COVID league?
No, well, half of it. No, I felt like we won that league because there was a meltdown at Man City. They lost all their defenders. Do you remember they had like
Yeah, no.
they had
That I
Fernandinho
understand.
like playing
That centre
as
back because Laporte got injured. I remember.
yeah, they had
And,
an absolute meltdown. Like, they basically had the season we had when we lost all our defence. It was the same.
Yeah,
They had
It
loads
was.
and loads of injuries.
And we had to play Fabinho and Henderson at center backs.
Yeah, it was the same season where I think we came third that year, didn't we?
Yeah, third. We came in
Yeah.
third with the
Man
Allison.
City come second or third that year, by the way,
Yeah.
when we won it.
They
They
came
come second.
second. They finished with 81 points. We finished with 99.
Okay, so they finished a fair
That's
few points
insane.
behind us. But did
Yeah,
we
that's
beat them?
what I mean.
Did we beat them in that season? Because I know we got beat.
We beat them at
We
home.
beat them
3-1.
at Anfield with 3-1. When
And they
Fabinho.
beat us
And they
4-1
beat us
ground, but we already
4-0.
won it.
Oh, yeah.
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 No,
Yeah.
I felt like there was other things that went for us, like heavily for us to win that league. There
Mhm.
wasn't a huge amount of adversity, which is what we seem to have all the other seasons when we've lost the league, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, there was no title race. Literally, there was
Yeah.
no title race. When there's no, so that's what I mean. Like every single title race we've had, even going back to like the year Arsenal won it in 01-02, that was kind of a title race, but they ended up winning it by 7 points. United 08-09 won it by 4 points. City 13-14 2 points, and then 18-19 19-20. No, 18-19 and 21 22 point.
Yeah.
So every single time we've been in a title race, we've not crossed the line, which is why I don't think a draw was a good enough result. We had to beat them.
We had to beat them.
Mhm.
We had to beat
Just
them.
because
agree.
I just know my team.
I agree.
So-
I don't think we're going to win the league now.
No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be. I think City will do it.
And
I
I said this earlier on in the show. It doesn't matter how well Arsenal play, City will win that game. There'll be a decision which will go for them. There'll be decisions which go for City for them to win the league. They just will. Like, it happens every single year. It just does. Like, whenever it's close, City get the rub of the green. Like, they just do in games. And this season we've been robbed 5 points. I'm sorry, we just have. Like,
Yeah.
we've just been robbed 5 points. Like, and I said this before. Like, Klopp's had enough. Klopp has had enough of this shit. Like, how many times does he have to go on and do interviews after games where he's being asked about the fucking shit refereeing decisions which have ruined the game for him, and he can't answer?
Mhm.
Don't ask him.
Yeah, he can't answer with
Ask
straight.
him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what
You
do you
can't
want him
do-
to say? Like, you asked him about the penalty. Like, did you want him to literally say, you know what, it wasn't a penalty, I'm blind? He's gonna answer the question, and he keeps on being asked the same stuff because
Honestly,
it keeps on fucking happening.
if we literally had those 3 titles, if we had those 3 Premier League titles, Klopp would have stayed. He would have stayed.
Yeah.
He would have stayed for many, many years to come. He wouldn't be leaving like any time. Like he wouldn't.
Go on,
It's
Gags.
just-
Gags is the voice of reason here. Go on.
Yeah.
He is the voice of reason. Go on.
I'll be honest, like
I'm on emotion. I'm losing it. Sorry.
no, it's fine. Nah, honestly, look, that's what being a fan's all about, man. It's opinions. It rubs people off the wrong way, certain views that you have, but at the end of the day, the end goal is we just want Liverpool to win.
Yeah.
I have, to be fair, I actually have one question for you guys. So let's just think post Klopp for a minute, right? Just now, after Klopp leaves at the end of the season, get a new manager in. Number one thing I do believe is there's going to be a lot of questions asked about FSG because there's been a lot of, for me, since 1920, especially,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of oh, it was FSG holding Klopp back, and Klopp holding the club back by not making certain signings and always waiting for the right player, this and that and the other.
Yeah.
I'll go last
and
on this, by the way. Go on.
And the thing is the one argument that Liverpool fans will always have that are very pro Klopp, but against FSG is, well,
Yeah.
where were we before Klopp came in? We hadn't won a league title. We weren't anywhere near what it was. And I, to a certain degree, agree with that. To a certain degree, I agree with the notion that we'd won what we'd won. A percentage of it was in spite of FSG, not because of FSG. However, the last couple of years, actually, you know what? Not even the last couple of years. For me, the early signs I saw was the first sign of adversity, 2020, 2021, where Klopp's stubbornness came in, not changing certain tactics in games, when we had all our players out, and he'd only start changing stuff when shit hit the fan, pretty much, and we were in danger of losing top four. And then ever since then, there was just certain habits of him in-game tactics and coming out in press conferences, and it pretty much summed it up the season before, where he didn't want midfielders and then changes his mind because he's like, oh crap, like I need one. And then the whole Arthur Melo saga, I think they're literally just a match made. It was literally just both of them that he aligned with the club, that the owners, and the owners aligned with him personally. But with having the new manager come in, it will answer that question.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. But my actual question is are you guys, because for me, I don't really care about trying to win it the Liverpool way. What I mean by that is, you know how we're the classy club, we do things a certain way and we want to win our way. But the thing is, by trying to win our way, it's worked, but it's also held us back in a sense where we've not had that sustained success. A lot of it is down to Manchester City's brilliance, despite them just being a fantastic team, despite obviously the 115 pending charges allegedly. Whether that comes to fruition or not, we don't know. But for me, I'm kind of just tired of trying to win the right way. As long as we're not breaking laws, that can obviously lead to serious consequences. I just want to win at all costs now, because we've been there, done that, winning it the right way. I just want to win, and I want to win consistently, and I want a era of dominance. Obviously, there's going to be certain parameters that can either hold us back or allow us to do that. But I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it, because I'm just sick of this Liverpool right way thing, because we've been there, done it, not done, and it's led us to not winning consistently enough, and I just want to win consistently now.
Okay, I'll go next on this one then, because you went on for quite a while, which is good, by the way. Loads and loads of good stuff there, mate. Okay, so my whole thought on it is, it's never been FSG. It's always been Klopp. Klopp's been the one that doesn't want to spend money, and that's just proof in the pudding. Like history reads that. Did it at Mainz, did it at Dortmund. Never spent big, never spent a lot of money. Like the players that we bought, that we spent a lot of money on, one of them was Virgil van Dijk. Like Virgil van Dijk cost us 20 million more because Klopp tapped him up. And that pissed Michael Edwards off, by the way. So the rift started with Klopp and Michael Edwards from then on, because of us having to pay 20 million more for Virgil van Dijk that was available for 55 million. That's just a fact. He also tapped up a couple of other players that then we couldn't sign. So the proof's in the pudding there. And also the fact that FSG went completely behind Klopp's back and bidded 115 million for Caicedo, who would have been a world record signing in the Premier League.
Which thank God we didn't get.
Yeah, no, but that was behind Klopp's back.
Yeah, that was
Klopp did an interview in the following morning, and he looked like someone had pissed on his chips. Like he was so pissed off talking about Caicedo because he didn't sanction it. It was sanctioned by Billy Hogan. Yeah. And that came out from Brighton, by the way. That didn't come out from anyone else. That came, like, Brighton chairman said that. Anyway, the next manager that comes in, we have to fucking stop being emotional. We have to stop being so intense.
I agree.
We have to stop being sentimental. No more sentimentality.
It's becoming cultish. Like, it needs to go away. Like we are never going to win titles and cups if we are so emotional about it. Like, it needs to be done robotic. We need to be monsters. We've got monsters that can do it. But when it's emotional, when it's so like, oh, you know, Liverpool and this, and we've been through all this, and we like, shut up. Just win a cup. Like we just won a cup, but it had to be about the kids. Like, we've done something that no one else has ever. Like, we won a cup, great. Move on. There's another 3. Like, get on with it. The players get on with it. You've heard Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk is a fucking robot. Like, you've heard him. He's like, I don't care about what happened. Like, we've got more games. Like, we've got more cups to win. Like, let's crack on. Like, more players like that in the team. And FSG will sign more players like that. Who aren't about emotion, who aren't about the family stuff. They're just about getting the job done and winning. And McAllister's one of them. Dominic Szoboszlai is one of them. These are the guys that are here to win stuff. Like, listen to McAllister's interview. Listen to McAllister's last interview on Sky Sports. Like, he just talks about, he's like, great, I've won one. I've won others, obviously the World Cup.
But I want to win many more.
But I want to win many more. And I'm like, exactly. That's exactly what we want. That's the
mentality.
That's the mentality. The next manager will get loads of money off FSG. And we are all going to sit there as fans and we're going to go, ooh, we were wrong.
That's the question, right? That's
maybe we shouldn't have all kicked off on FSG.
Yeah.
Like, FSG are really good owners. Like, I'm sorry. They just are. Like, we have a lot of money. We have an amazing ground. We have some of the best merchandise. Like, I'm constantly buying the Nike stuff. It's amazing. Like, it's just good. Like, like, we've got LeBron James as one of our ambassadors. Like,
they know how to run they know how to run a football club.
They run
look at Todd Bowley. Look at Todd Bowley and Chelsea. What the frick are they doing?
Absolute mess.
Like what are they doing?
Absolute mess. And I also
they're running the club to the ground.
And I
while FSG, we're just being sustainable. We're being run the right way.
I love the fact that our owners aren't at the match. Yeah. I love the fact that we don't hear from them. We shouldn't have to. They own the club. It's a business. They own other sports franchises. That's fine. Like, they own golf, they own basketball, they own ice hockey, like baseball, whatever. Like, great. Like,
and I love how they do the scenes, how they do the behind the scenes working players in silence. You know what I mean? Like, just in silence.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. And this is, and I'll end with this. Okay.
Yeah.
The dips we've had, the worst seasons we've had. Okay, and this is just a fact. All right, you can cut this and look into it. Do what you want. Okay. The worst seasons we've had under Klopp is when Klopp had too much power, and that's just a fact. The biggest dips we've had at Liverpool under Klopp is when Klopp had too much power. When he first started, we didn't have a director of football that was there to boss him around and there to take the slack, because we didn't have Edwards there for the first year or so. Okay, they were bad times with Klopp. He lost cups. We didn't do too well in the league. That's just a fact. Yeah. We then went on our mad runs where we won cups and we won everything, yeah. And we were 1 point behind in leagues, and all of that. It was amazing. Michael Edwards left, dip, no good signings, loads of dross was left to rot in the team, and we became old and stale. We then got Michael Edwards' replacement, which was his protege. We went on the quad run. We won 2 cups. We didn't win the quad because we didn't have enough players. That's just a fact. We didn't have enough midfielders. That's just a fact. We're playing Milner constantly. Why is he even at the club then? I don't know why, but yeah. And then we have this season. Okay, this season is an anomaly, but this season is an anomaly because the board gave him 150 million and also bid 115 million for one player. Okay, the board gave him the money. He had to buy players. He didn't have a choice. Had to buy players, and a lot of the players were picked from our scouting team, and that scouting team was put together by Michael Edwards because loads of them are still there. We will go on a dynasty and a massive run, and we will do the Joe Fagan stuff because we've had our modern age Bill Shankly. How many titles did we win with the man after Bill Shankly? And this is the next guy. And it's going to be Alonso or it's going to be Almiron. That's the fact. And you're going to have Edwards and you're going to have Richard Hughes. I don't rate Richard Hughes that much, but if Edwards picks him, I'm fine.
I don't care.
The man turns water into wine and he's got the Midas touch.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Oh,
Does that
no,
answer your question, Gags?
It does. It does, and I agree with what your argument for FSG is very logical. However, one thing you could argue that, I just wanted to touch on the bit where you said, the worst seasons Liverpool have had is when Klopp had the power, right? Which I definitely do agree. But ultimately, who allowed Klopp to have all that power? It was FSG, right?
I agree.
So, and this is where it comes up. So the reason why I'm not as pro FSG as yourself is because I do still question what their ambition for Liverpool Football Club actually is on the pitch. I'm not talking about off the pitch, because off the pitch, commercially, they're like probably the best owners in the Premier League, hands down. But on the pitch, I do have certain concerns, only because, coming back to the Klopp thing, because I personally believe since 1920 as a club, we got very complacent as a football club. We got very arrogant as a football club as well, because it's easy to get to the top, but it's very hard to try and do what's required to stay at the top. And after 1920, when we dropped off in 2021, yes, there were extenuating circumstances with the number of injuries we did have. And we finished third and we didn't even compete for the title. If FSG were about winning, and winning was what mattered, that was the first opportunity they could have had to replace Klopp and get someone in who was a proven winner. That's the first season. The year after, of course, we bounced back by competing for all 4 cups, obviously losing out narrowly to the league and the Champions League.
So they were right to keep
the league and the Champions League. Yeah, in hindsight, of course.
He had enough credit in the bank. Like we talk about this credit in the bank thing, don't we? I think he had enough credit in the bank. But also, but also, it felt like an Arsene Wenger moment where we had a manager that was just he was doing incredible things, and what happens when you have a manager that does incredible things? The board become laps and they let him get his way. It's just a fact. Like it happened with Fergie. It happened with Wenger. Like it just happens. Like it's like I don't know. It's like an inevitability. Like, it will just happen, and they will get their own way. And I still believe that Klopp gave them an ultimatum: I go, or Edwards goes. And it was Edwards. Like, it just looks that way. Like, the whole timeline fits. Like Klopp said that he told the board in November that he was leaving, when there's rumours that it was in the summer. Okay, and they were speaking to Edwards in the summer. Like, we know that.
Mhm.
So they've obviously approached Edwards and said, look, Klopp's going. We want you to run the club. Like we probably should have let you do that anyway, but Klopp wouldn't have it, because he wouldn't, and that's why he got his mate in, the director of football from Germany, who he goes to rock concerts with. So we all know about that. He's basically running our recruitment from a villa in Ibiza. Like, so we all know about that, and he's absolutely dog shit, by the way. Like, Dominic Sobolsai was signed by one of our Hungarian scouts, and McAllister was signed by Julian Ward. Like, Endo was probably a Hunter signing. Seriously, like, the data was there. Anyway, but that's regardless. And Gravenberch, Gravenberch was bloody what's the name's signing, Pep and Linda's. So we all know Pep and Linda's signings because they're all from either Portugal or Holland, because he loves them, because that's where he did his coaching, and that's where he basically wants to be a manager for Ajax or PSV or anyone. But that's what happens. There's inevitability where the manager gets power. It happened in Dortmund. Like, the reason why he ended up getting sacked at Dortmund, he got too much power because he did so well that the board buckled and just let him get his own way. And that's his Achilles heel. It's always been his Achilles heel. When there's too much noise around him, he ends up not doing his job. And it felt like a couple of years he wasn't doing a job. Like, he was half-assed. We've all seen it. We're like, why are you not making a substitution there? Why is that guy not getting dropped? He's crap. Like, why aren't you buying a player?
If I may come
Go
in,
on, mate.
I've been listening to pretty much all of y'all, and I'm trying to come up with my, I guess, understanding.
And the
of
next
whole
guy's
thing.
not going to be a manager. The next guy's going to be a coach. All he needs to focus on is the team. Like, Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards will be getting the gems. All those players that we've talked about, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo's and Sven Botmans and Gimaresh and Doku and all of those players that we could have signed for buttons under Edwards that got recommended to Klopp and he didn't want them. Guess what? We're getting them next time. We'll be getting them. Because there's no one there that says no.
If I may, I think that I slightly disagree with, I think, both of you guys on certain issues.
Go on then. Let's have a listen.
So I think that, so I guess here's what I would say. On the seasons where Klopp had lots of power, what I would say is, first of all, the 2021 season, that season we started off, before Virgil van Dijk's injury, actually playing very good football. And I think once we had Virgil van Dijk injured and we had some other injuries, they went away. And at that stage, when Virgil van Dijk obtained his injury, we were not in a transfer window, nor were we in any real position to go like, okay, let's quickly fix this. Because you're in a situation where Virgil van Dijk goes, and when you start playing bad, you got to give your team maybe a couple games to kind of fix things, and then you get more and more and more injuries. And I think that Jurgen Klopp, as well as some other players and some heroics, did drag the team to third place, to his credit. Then the season, 22-23 season, when we finished fifth, and it was a nightmare season, and we were all like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening in front of our eyes. In that case, if I may, everyone agreed we should have signed a midfielder, but none of us expected to have such a terrible season. We all knew Henderson's quite old. Fabinho's getting there. We also agreed that, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, these are not good enough for the club. But not a single person amongst Liverpool fans, Liverpool pundits, or any other journals or fan base thought Liverpool would have the garbage season that they did. And I think that we are we're looking back on hindsight and saying Jurgen Klopp, he should have done better. He should have signed a midfielder. I'm not disagreeing, but I must admit, if you put yourself in his shoes and you just went with the same group of players on a quadruple run that was 1 point and 1 game away from making history, I don't think you would really want to chop and change that team too much by adding too many players or faces. Or even if you did add a couple faces, you may not expect them to actually make it into this quadruple, almost quadruple winning side. And then we talked about how, like, but they were getting old, those midfielders, we should have changed it. But throughout history, there's lots of midfielders that when they hit 30 don't turn into biscuits. They still stay really, really good. I mean, we have Modric, we have Toni Kroos, you have, Fernandinho was carrying City's defensive midfield and center back position for years. We have countless countries and countless players, some legends of the club that they were 36, and you're like, man, I hope you retire soon because you look exhausted. And they would still all of a sudden pull out a performance where you'd say, that's class. I can't believe he just did that at his age. I don't agree that like Henderson's 32 or 33. That's not really in this day and age, this grandpa age that it was maybe in the early 2000s or 90s. Players are going to like 36, 37 nowadays, slowly but surely. So I don't agree that Klopp made this radically weird decision when at the time that side almost took us to a quadruple. And I think that in hindsight, it's easiest for us to say, hey, he should have signed a midfielder. I agree with that sentiment completely. But I think it's a bit harsh. And then also the idea that he's gaining too much power, I agree. But when we look at other teams where the managers gained power, when those managers left, things fell apart. When Fergie left United, United is nothing compared to what they were before. The closest that they ever got was when another manager with a massive ego like Jose Mourinho came in and actually started stomping the board and demanding things the way he wanted. He wasn't delivered on those demands. He wanted a center back and he never really got one, but he is, I think many United fans would agree, the best manager they had since Fergie in terms of trophies and at least getting somewhere. And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with his little discussion on the overlap, he made it very clear that he didn't get his way and that had he had maybe a little bit more power, things might have gone slightly well. Arsene Wenger, when he left Arsenal, things went completely just terrible. And you brought in a manager like Unai Emery, who was just a puppet. And then when he came in, he didn't get to play his football because the board had too much power. So I think at some level, a manager should have some level of power. And I think Bayern Munich is a good example of a board that has too much power, sacking Julian Nagelsmann when he was maybe, a point behind first place with so many games to go.
And in Champions League quarterfinal as well.
And Champions League qualified. And his statistically, he was on par with Hansi Flick. He was behind, of course. But Tuchel, in comparison, is nowhere close. But he's someone that the board wanted. They sacked him. They're getting rid of Kahn. They're getting rid of strong voices. And I do agree with you guys that a board can sometimes be a little too subservient to a manager. And that's why bringing someone like Michael Edwards in to potentially be a CEO so he can, from day one, have that head-to-head sort of relationship with the manager where they can have their say and he can have his say. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be, whatever you want as a manager or whatever you want as a board member. I'm kind of like the middle seems to be the truth, at least for me, that Klopp in some instances did have too much power. And the Klopp way, the Liverpool way, can sometimes be incredibly annoying. However, let's say Manchester City get charged and let's pretend, I wish that they get relegated or kicked out. let's say that happens. That completely changes the entire legacy of Klopp. As someone who, with his way, while stubborn at times, I think we can agree, was going toe-to-toe with an entire country that was breaking rules left, right, and center. And I think that completely changes the way that we would view Klopp as not this guy who was stubborn, but as a guy who knew what he was doing was successful, gave everything he got, and just didn't make it. He's a point away, 2 points away. That's incredibly harsh and unlucky. And especially if Man City get charged, you kind of feel like his Liverpool way, whilst incredibly frustrating at some times, and I do agree, sometimes too sentimental, was going to get us over the line had Man City not cheated. But at the same time, I'm not as harsh on FSG. I think that last season, when tons of people were yelling at FSG, Amir could attest to this. I kept on telling him, but off camera, I don't mind FSG. I don't think they're as bad as what people say. I think they've put in good investment. When someone says, I think it's a good point that was brought up of, hey, Klopp, who put him in that position to kind of rule? And I think that's fair. However, at that stage, if you hired Klopp and he has completely turned around your team and has won every single trophy, it is natural to put him in charge for a season, or at least let him have a greater say. I don't think they've done anything that's outside the mold. And I think comparing him to Bowley or to Bayern Munich's, how are Bayern Munich suffering in a league where they are the only team in contention for the title? I think that comparing FSG to a lot of other boards, like the Barcelona board, I think, my goodness, I am glad FSG are in charge, and I'm glad Jurgen Klopp was the manager. That's my whole tirade. I think the middle
No,
route
no.
between you two, that's the path I'm going to
No,
take.
no, I agree with a lot of stuff you've said, by the way.
Mm.
Klopp's a genius, by the way. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not slating Klopp. Like, I'm not saying that. I mean, he has been stubborn to a certain extent, and you can't deny
Yeah.
that. Like, you
I
can't
agree.
deny that.
Yes.
I mean, with the defense, just the defense side of things, we did have a transfer window where we didn't sign any defender, where we signed a on loan defender and a guy that was a hologram. Okay, and we had the chance to sign Konate earlier, but we didn't. Okay, we didn't. But we had the chance to sign him earlier because we'd already done the data on him. And they said they didn't want to sell him, but we didn't really push for it when we should have. And if we'd have paid an extra 10 million, I don't care. Like, we needed a guy. And we also had the guy that went to Southampton, Deleta Carr. He was at the airport. We had the agreement. It was done and dusted. He was coming over to meet with Klopp, and he said no. You can look at that. The research is there. And the and if you want to talk about the midfield thing, like he said he didn't want a midfielder, and we had a huge transfer window. By the way, there was so much time in that window. I don't know how many weeks when we were all just like, we're going to get a midfielder, aren't we? We're definitely going to get a midfielder. And then we got one on the last day, and he played 17 minutes and then he broke. And we all knew he was going to break anyway because he was injury prone when we signed him.
Mm.
But the thing is, and this is the thing that gets me the most, okay, is I think Klopp was going to leave beforehand. Like, it was his wife and talks with the board that got him to stay and re-sign a new contract, if you remember, because his contract was ending in 2024. And he signed a new contract and stayed, if you remember this correctly. Now, the thing is, because he was going, he didn't sign any players when we were in the position of strength, when we should have signed players. And then what we had after Klopp signed his new contract, we had a load of players that were beyond the age of 27, 28, 29, 30. And then we had loads of 17 and 18-year-olds. So we didn't have a group that were between 24 to 26. So we had this huge drop-off from kids to aging squad players. So when we did do the quad run, which wasn't really a quad run, was it? Because we didn't win the quad. It was a cup double. We had loads of old players that were done. They were done. Like Guardiola, after he won his treble, he literally said, I haven't got the players to do it again. So he got rid of about 5 players, first team players. He got rid of Mahrez, Gundogan, like loads and loads of players left. I can't remember all the others. But he got rid of loads of players because he said they can't do it again. We just did like every single game that season. Every single game. And the last 10 games were so emotional. I needed a holiday from football because they took so much out of me. Can you imagine what that did to the players? And then he went, I want you to go again. And half of them were like, we could barely walk. And he kept them all, and he didn't sign anyone else. And that is just a travesty. It just is. Like, and if you look at the net spend of Liverpool, our net spend is about 420 million. Like, I don't care what anyone says. He didn't spend the money that he could have spent. Like, he could have spent 100 million a year, and we know he could have. But you know he never asked the board. You just know he never asked the board. And this will come out. I'm going to do a couple more minutes with everyone, and then I'm going to end. Okay, sorry. Do you want to go, Frank? Frank, because you haven't gone yet, mate.
Yeah, actually, I kind of disagree with the previous guy that was talking, I guess, because like Klopp.
I'm just going to go on camera for a sec. All right.
All right. I kind of disagree because the fact that we did go to the finals, but like they did give him the tools to actually succeed. But Klopp was actually too stubborn to actually want to go with what needed to be done. Like, for example, Henderson should never be playing, period. Like, Henderson was done. Like, he was cooked. That guy was done. Fabinho also was done, and he knew that. Like, off the rip, he knew that Fabinho was done. So, like, when you make it to the final, the goal is to win it, not to actually play with what you can or, try to struggle or whatever. But, like, we made it through. But like, out of how many finals did we get actually under Klopp? Like 3 finals, and we won 1. Champions League final.
Are
I
you
guess.
talking about the 2022 final?
Yeah, that's when we
against Real
went and
Madrid?
got a midfielder.
Yeah.
We went and got
Yeah,
Fabinho.
3 and
we
1-1.
actually made it through. You get what I mean? Like, he has to go through those things to actually understand that the team don't have it. Like, he
But
knows the team doesn't have it.
statistically, in that game, we actually played better than Madrid. They were lucky. It was Trent Alexander-Arnold's terrible positioning, and then Courtois had a game of a lifetime. At that stage, what else could Klopp do? He's in a final. Courtois
Yeah,
is
but
playing
no,
out of
there
his
was-
skin, and Trent doesn't cover the position.
No, I understand what you're saying about Trent, but it's not even that. It's the fact that overall we were lacking. We were
Frank,
actually lacking.
Frank,
Yeah.
Frank, can I just cut in for a sec? Do you want to know
Sure.
something crazy?
What?
Klopp's never beaten Real Madrid in the
Ever?
Champions League. They've knocked us out every single time.
No, 4-1 against Mourinho.
No, every
when
single
we lost the hat-trick.
single time we've been beaten by Real Madrid under Klopp.
Oh, man.
Even when we got knocked out of the Champions League, it was by Real Madrid.
Oh, sorry. No. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant
Yeah.
Klopp has never beaten Real Madrid.
He might have beaten Real Madrid when he was at Dortmund.
Yeah, he was.
He was when he beat them when he was at Dortmund.
Lewandowski masterclass. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
but
go
the
on.
thing is, like, he knew what the players could do and what he had at hand, but he didn't want to change. He was too stubborn. That's why, like, I hold Klopp accountable for some of the stuff that happened because, like, he could have done better. Like, he knew what we have. Even Karius, the final Karius. Come on, dude. Like, really?
Should have been
Karius?
taken off. He had concussion.
Yeah.
That's Klopp. That's on Klopp. That's not on FSG. And I don't like FSG. You get what I mean? Like,
Well, he's
I
on
gotta
your
be
side
honest
there,
with you.
Mohammed.
yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, like, that's one. I don't disagree with that one. But again, that one I can agree with you. But I don't get the 2022 final
Yeah, but
one.
my point is, how many do you need for you to actually see what Klopp has done wrong? And this is what I hate with people sometimes. As much as I hate FSG, I can see what Klopp did and what he did wrong. You know what I mean? I want Liverpool to be the greatest team in the world. In my eyes, it is. They are the greatest team in the world. But the thing is, when you have people holding the manager, if you look at his statistics, even for Champions League, winning 1 out of 3 is not the greatest. It's just not. Like, you made
But you
the
also
final.
have to remember, given the huge amount of time we were out of such a final, getting into 3
Yeah.
finals is still quite impressive. And I agree with you. We should win as much as we can.
Think about it this way, okay? They have a saying here in the state. They say, like, asshole. Excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one. You get what I mean? We've come up with a million excuses why Klopp didn't make it, but like, the reality of it is, it's still on him. It's not FSG. It's on him. Like,
Is it
people are
on
talking
him
about Klopp
that-
leaving, huh?
But
Go ahead.
is it on him if Courtois plays a masterclass? I think sometimes we take an individual game
Yeah,
that
but
is a
that's
loss
one
and we
game
blame an
though.
entire manager for it, which makes no sense. It's the
It comes from
players
the
at that
top though.
stage to win it.
Yeah, but it
Well,
comes from the top.
yeah, but their tactics won the game. Our tactics didn't.
No, I
Right.
think their super goalkeeper won the
You
game.
know,
We dominated
the
statistically,
thing is,
possession-wise, shot-wise,
Vinny,
everything.
Vinny was shut out the entire game, but he got that one chance because
And that
Klopp,
was
what?
Trent's
Because
fault.
thing is,
How?
Trent
But
Trent
what
was
can
what?
Klopp
Trent was
do
too
at
far
that
forward.
stage?
Trent wasn't asked to do any defending. Like we didn't put Joey Gomez there. Like he
Yes,
could have
but
defended that. Like
we
I'm
also
not.
had
Look,
one of the
I'm
best
not.
defenses the entire
Yeah,
year.
I'm
I
not.
think
Look,
taking
I'm
one
not. I'm
mistake
not
and
saying
saying that's
I'm not
Klopp.
saying Klopp's at fault. Okay, I'm not saying Klopp's at fault for all these things. Like my whole argument before was about the fact that now we're going to have a new COO and we're going to have a new director of football and we're going to have a new manager who's going to be a coach, not a manager. I personally feel we will go on a dynasty and we will win more league titles. And if he doesn't win the league this year, that's 1 in 9, guys.
yeah,
That's
That's
not
not
a
great.
statue.
Yeah,
That's not a statue.
That's not great. Yeah.
That's 1 in 9. That's not a statue. And can we all be a bit real as well? Like all the cups that we won before the cup we won this season were won in 2 years. They
That's
were won in
true.
2 years.
Yeah.
They weren't won over the period of 8 years. They were won in 2 years. So we can turn around and go, we won everything. We won everything in 2 seasons. Okay, we didn't win everything over 5 seasons or 6 seasons because we lost a lot. We lost a lot of cups. We lost a lot of cup finals. We lost a lot of semi-finals.
Yep.
We came second too many times. You know, we lost against the bottom of the league teams, which is why we lost the league.
That's true.
That's it.
Drew.
That is all you need to know. The leagues that we lost because we lost against the bottom of the league team. We
well,
haven't done it
mainly
this
draws.
season. But
Yeah,
what we
but that's
haven't
what I
done this
say.
season is we haven't won against the top 6 teams. And that's why we won't win the league this season.
You're right. But the thing is, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people find excuses for Klopp all the time. I'm not saying I dislike Klopp, but
It's
Klopp
the
could have
cult
been
of
a lot
Klopp.
better.
It's the cult.
It is. It is actually, because like I don't think any manager is actually greater than the team. For me, the team is greater than anything else. So it's like I can come up with excuses, but for Karius, you can't come up with the same excuse. You say, well, somebody play out of their skin. Karius fucked up, but also Klopp decided to actually put Karius in with a concussion.
Yeah, but I gave you that one. I still think
But
you're
even
going
if you
back
gave
to
me
a
that
point
one,
that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but tactically, Klopp was getting outplayed, like against Madrid.
In that final, but not the 22 final, because you're saying in the 19 final, or was it 18
we
final?
have 3 finals, right?
He
We won
played with a guy who had a concussion, and I don't disagree with you. Then in the 19 final, we beat Spurs, and honestly, had we lost to Spurs, I think every Liverpool fan would want to put their head in the sand of how embarrassing that would be.
We were outplayed in that game, by the way. Can we all be honest there?
Yeah, I remember
And then
that.
Klopp's tactics
Yeah, but
got
the
us
thing
the
is,
win. See,
you
when
need
like
to-
Madrid get outplayed, but they win, we're very easy to be like, well, it was just their tactics. But when Klopp gets like outplayed by Tottenham and he still wins, none of us will be willing to really say, hey, that worked out really well. But still,
Poch had a
nonetheless, like
brain
your
fart in that
argument
game,
when it came
and
to
he played an
Madrid
injured
flipped.
player in Harry Kane. Like that's the reason why they lost
The
that
thing
game.
is, the 2018 final, that one I would actually give Klopp and our team a blight because it's the first. It literally was the first time we'd got back into the Champions League for about 4 years, and we got to the final literally straight away. And if you look at our team on paper compared to Madrid's, we had no right beating Madrid that final.
we had
So
no right.
We had no
that one I'll give us a blight on.
They had a
But you
prime
see the
Gareth Bale as
2020
well.
You
Yep.
see the 2022 final, right?
Yeah.
Ancelotti knew what Klopp's tactics were because the thing is, I remember I was speaking to like my group of friends and just people like leading up to the final, and I specifically said, with the way that we play, where we have our high press from the midfield and the forwards, right? With against Madrid's really against Madrid's like insane press resistant midfielders, right? Our best chance against Madrid in that final would have been to score early with the way we play, because the longer you play the way you play against a tactically savvy team like Madrid, with the quality of footballers that they have, especially in midfield, where you got Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro, who are some of the prime Casemiro, by the way, who are some of the most press-resistant footballers in the world at the time. The longer it goes, the longer the game goes, and it's 0-0, and you haven't scored, it's advantage Real Madrid, and that's exactly what happened with their goal as well. Robertson does a one-man press, ridiculous, by the way, vacating his left back position. Modric turns him inside out, turns him outside out, and just leaves him for dead. Passes it to Carvajal, who's now in the position that Robertson's supposed to be. Then he plays the ball into Valverde, and then Van Dijk has to cover left back and left centre back. And then all he does is just lazily leaves a dangling leg out, right? Doesn't close Valverde, instead tries to shield. And then Trent, he looked, because the thing is, I don't know if you guys remember the actual goal, but Trent actually sees Vinicius in his periphery. So he knows Vinicius is behind him, but then he still lets Vinicius run off his shoulder. Yep. And the ball just gets drilled in, and they score, and it's 1-0. And that was literally Carlo Ancelotti's tactic. As long as we didn't score in the first half, or we didn't score early, they were always going to be in the game because of the way we played. You're pressing against the most pressure-resistant footballers in the world.
Yeah.
The longer the game goes, you're gonna tire out, and that's exactly what happened. And that's how they won. And I knew they were going to win 1-0 if we didn't score early.
That's how they battered us at Anfield. Like, they just did us on the counter attack. Like we were winning 2-0 in that game. We were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
And we got beat on the counter attack 5 times at home. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, we were shocking in that game. Like, we should have just shut shop. Like, but that's down to tactics. Do you want to have a say around a minute each, please? Because like I've got 5 minutes left. Okay. So start at Mo. Do you want to go first?
To be quite honest, thank you for having me. This has been a great discussion. It's been lots of fun. I mean, regardless of whether we agree or disagree, it's been great hearing everyone's perspectives and everyone's insights and like why people believe what they believe. So thank you for having me. That's all I gotta say. It's been lots of fun. Thank you guys.
Good having you on here, man. We agree on the corruption now.
Yeah.
Amir, do you want to go next, mate?
I just want to say thank you for also having me on, and it was a pleasure seeing you all faces again and just talking about Liverpool. And I'm really excited that Michael Edwards is going to be coming in, as a CEO, and then Richard Hughes is going to be coming in as a sporting director. So that's that. And then hopefully we get Xabi Alonso, and hopefully we can win back-to-back titles again. Hopefully we can win many trophies to come. So
I believe
exciting times ahead. You'll never walk alone. And thank you guys.
Big up, Amir. I'll catch up with you soon, mate, as well.
Of course.
You want to go next, Frank?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, K-Mac. Thank you, everyone. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know about Alonso, actually. I have my doubts about him. I actually would prefer Amorim, if I can be honest.
Me too.
But he's more proven. Alonso might be lucky, possibly. But luck eventually runs out. So, I mean, like I said, we'll see what happens. I hope they get the right guy for the job. They usually do anyways. So,
I want Amorim as well, Frank. I'll catch you later, mate. Okay.
Yeah.
Gags?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, like, thanks for having me on the show again, man. It's been a while, so
it has, mate. It has. I had to do a show, mate, because I was just raging. But I just go on other people's shows. But I will start doing shows again.
No, it's absolutely fine, man. It's good to have a stream on your channel as well. And as I said, looking forward to what's to come in the future. Life after Klopp. I hope, as I said, please me nothing more than for us to do the quad this season, just for him to have a send off, because
Yeah.
it's not like I don't like Klopp and I don't rate Klopp. He's a generational coach for this generation, I mean, specifically. But as I said, a lot of questions are going to be answered about the ownership. That will open a lot of fans' eyes, me included. Maybe there's certain things that I was oblivious to, but we'll find out the answers to those. And yeah, I think we'll win at least two. I think we'll win 2 trophies minimum this season. I think I'm predicting League Cup and Europa League.
Yeah, oh
And
no, you're going to say what I was going to say.
And
I think it's 2 as well. I think it's another 2. Yeah.
And I predict. I don't know, man, because at the start of the season I predicted a 3rd place finish. That still could be on the cards.
It could be.
So I might stick to 3rd place and 2 cups, and it will be those 2 cups. But yeah, that's me.
Big up, man. Big up. Yeah, it's good having you guys. If anyone in the chat or anyone here hasn't subscribed, please do. It's good to have you on here, and you can see my notifications on when I'm jumping on other people's shows. I do a lot of stuff with Jamie Phillips, Coppish, Jerry James, Quasi Bold as well. I do a lot of stuff on it, and also Monts on Big Sixpence. I'm on there as well every now and again. It's good having everyone here, and I really hope we win the whole lot. Like, I hope we go unbeaten the next 10 games. I hope we win the whole lot. And I hope everything's amazing, and we can all celebrate and have a great time. And but we still have to have these rants, because what happened today was just robbery, just robbed again for another terrible decision against Liverpool. That's how it is. That's how I see it. But up the Reds. Catch you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.